Greetings world. We are anonymous.
Julian Assange, for the last 6 years, has been persecuted and held captive because of rape allegations. Allegations that we have now found out are entirely fabricated by police. Today marks the first time that Assange has gone public with his version of events surrounding the rape allegations for which he was arrested in 2010. 6 years ago today, on the 7th of December 2010, I was handcuffed and locked in Wandsworth prison by order of a Swedish prosecutor, Marianne N.Y. Assange explains in a testimony released on Wednesday. I had not and still have not been charged with an offense. The claimed grounds for my arrest and extradition without charge were so that NY could question me. But it was not until 6 years later, 3 weeks ago, that I was questioned for the first time. I have decided to release my responses. In November, Assange was finally questioned over a 2-day period. However, as Assange points out, my Swedish lawyer was excluded from the room in yet another breach of my basic rights. In a 19-page statement, also released on Wednesday, Assange details the events leading up to his persecution, including being railroaded by the American, Swedish, English and Australian governments. Not coincidentally, all of these allegations of Assange's alleged sexual misconduct came after he began exposing the war crimes of the U.S. government. After being leaked information by the heroic Chelsea Manning, I could not believe my eyes when 5 days later I saw a headline in a Swedish tabloid that I was suspected of a crime and arrested in my absence. I immediately made myself available to Swedish authorities to clarify any questions that might exist, even though I had no obligation to do so. In his statement, Assange outlines the details of what he refers to as consensual and enjoyable sex with a woman known as SW, which he says occurred 4 or 5 times. Assange is accused of having sex with SW while she was asleep, which is considered rape under Swedish law. However, on Wednesday, he released SMS messages showing that this did not happen. According to the statement, her behavior towards me on the night in question and in the morning made it clear that she actively and enthusiastically wanted me to have sex with her. This is also shown by text messages SW sent to her friends during the course of the evening I was at her home and during that week, which the Swedish police collected from her phone. Although the prosecutor has fought for years to prevent me, the public and the courts from seeing them, my lawyers were permitted to see them at the police station and were able to note down a number of them, including, on the 14th of August 2010, SW sent the following text to a friend: "I want him. I want him," followed by several more of similar content, all referring to me. In the lead up to the events in question, 13:05, on the 17th of August, SW wrote that we had long foreplay, but nothing happened. 1:14. Then it got better. 5:15. On the 17th of August, after all, sex had occurred. SW wrote to a friend that it turned out alright other than STD/pregnancy risk. 10:29. On the 20th of August, SW, while at the police station, wrote that she did not want to put any charges on Julian Assange but that the police were keen on getting their hands on him. 14:26. And that she was shocked when they arrested him because she only wanted him to take a test. 17:06. On the 21st of August, SW wrote that she did not want to accuse Julian Assange for anything. 7:27. And that it was the police who made up the charges. 22:25. On the 23rd of August, AA, the other woman whose case was dropped in August 2015, wrote to SW that it was important that she went public with her story so that they could form public opinion for their case. 6:43. On the 23rd of August, SW wrote that it was the police, not herself, who started the whole thing. 16:02. On the 26th of August, AA wrote to SW that they ought to sell their stories for money to a newspaper. 13:38. On the 28th of August, AA wrote that they had a contact on the biggest Swedish tabloid, 1253, and SW wrote that their lawyer negotiated with the tabloid, 1559. Without even bothering to take my statement, the Swedish prosecution authority broke its own rules and released my name to a tabloid newspaper, explains Assange in his testimony. Prosecutor NY went on to produce more than 40 press releases and press conferences about me. As a result, to this day more than 500,000 web pages falsely conflate my name with the word rape. Luckily for Assange, the world is waking up to his mistreatment. Just last week, the United Nations rejected an appeal by the UK of a previous ruling as not admissible, noting that London and Stockholm must end the arbitrary detention of the WikiLeaks founder. As Claire Burnish pointed out last week, Julian Assange has the unimpeded right to walk away from the Ecuadorian embassy that has graciously provided asylum to the arbitrarily detained WikiLeaks founder without fear of being arrested and taken into custody, at least theoretically. Without grounds for further appeal, the British and Swedish governments are left without tangible justification for continuing to tacitly force Assange to remain secreted inside his haven in London. But it remains to be seen what, precisely, will happen next.